I've already put one together and just kind of like experimenting, and I will show you how this works. Application steps. So place terminal between two wires so that the connection is located in the soldering ring, which I've done right there. Use a heat gun to evenly heat the entire terminal, which I don't have a heat gun in the house here, but you know what? I have a little butane torch, and I was able to regulate the heat pretty good with this little butane lighter right here. Heat shrink tube to a hot melt waterproof ring. So there is a waterproof ring that will melt down on this. So the main use for this is something in a marine environment or where wires are going to be underwater or exposed to water a lot, which is something that, you know, that way you don't get a short in your wire or a short on the metal or something around it. So you would, like if I had a wire that broke, say like on a control panel on a boat, and I had to get under there and solder that wire back together, something like this would be extremely handy in that environment. What I'm going to do for y'all is I'm going to actually, this is a little spare wire that I had on a fuse box on my car, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and cut this wire right here and just demonstrate how this works. We don't need to strip a lot of it off, so there's stripping that off. Strip that side off, strip that off. So we've just stripped the wires. So see how I just cleaned up the wires? So now let's get a connector. What you're going to do, now obviously you wouldn't have access to the backside, so what I'd want to do is slide the connector on first before I start. You're going to fray these wires out like this. Now you notice I don't need a lot of wires, and I don't need a soldering gun. How cool is that? That's one of the features of this thing that really helps out with this. So I'm putting these together, and I'm going to put a little twist on it right there. So you notice there's no solder, no tape, no anything. I'm just going to run this down. Now I'm lining the solder right up with the wires where it's been spliced. I don't want to get too close to this. I want to get it kind of hot, but I don't want it to catch on fire and melt. So I need to just keep going around it. What I'm going to do is start in this back side, melt this down real quick. And this is the part that takes the longest, is melting this down. You can see it starting to separate there. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch to the other side. Would a solder gun be faster? I don't know. Personally, that's starting to get hot on my fingers, so I'm going to change the grips. Okay, it's done here. Now the thing is, it needs to cool off. So I'm going to let this cool off, then we'll come back and we'll test it, because obviously you've seen that one's cooled off. So I did another one, and let's see how strong this is after it's been cooled off. Okay, there it is, everybody. I let it cool off for 5 minutes. Check this out. So that's it. And you see how I put it together. It's only thing I did was splice, like fray the wires and splice them together like that. And look at that connection. I wonder if I can even break it at all. Now, I've not had solder. When I've done solders, I've not had it on there that good. That's hurting my fingers. That's so tight. Yeah, I don't see that coming off, and it's watertight, everybody. So this sealant, you can see what it does. The yellow like liquefies, and I think it's like a piece of like some sort of like plastic that attaches to the wires, and that's what gives it additional strength. That's, in my opinion, that's just as strong as the wire itself. I feel I could actually break the wire itself before I break this connection right here. You can see you can bend it. It's just like a normal connection. It's not coming apart. It works. It's waterproof. So yeah, I'm a believer in these things. I will be using these on projects. I don't really have a boat, but I do want to use these on just random projects on a car in the engine compartment where you might have an issue of water getting on something. Let's say you had an alternator or wire or something come loose or break. This would be great for that. So yeah, there it is, everybody. That's all I got on the solder seal wire connectors. See y'all in the next video.